Hello everyone, welcome to session 25 of Theory of Computation or Formal Languages and Automata Theory. So in today's session, we will solve one problem related to this GNF, Grebach normal form, and followed by that we will discuss the closure properties of context-free languages. Yeah. So this is the concept which we have seen in the previous session, that is GNF, Grebach normal form. So a context-free grammar is said to be in GNF if all the productions are in the form uh, like capital A denotes small a, capital X, or or capital A denotes small a, right? So if any CFG consisting of the productions in this form, then that CFG will be considered in GNF. Okay. So while converting the CFG into GNF, we have to apply 8 rules or 8 steps. Okay. So these are the steps that we have seen in the previous session. So first step is elimination of epsilon productions, elimination of unit productions, elimination of useless symbols and productions, and then converting the obtained CFG into CNF, and then relabeling the variables by assigning them name as V1, V2, V3, so on, Vn, and then ordering the productions based on their index values. That means order the productions according to their indexing or sequence number of the variables. Okay. And whenever you find a production in this form, Vi denotes Vj alpha, where I value is less than j, immediately you have to check whether Vj is in GNF or not. If it is in GNF, we can directly substitute the Vj production in Vi production rule. Okay. So we can directly substitute the body of the production Vj in place of Vj in Vi rule. Okay. So here in this Vi denotes Vj. So whatever the body of the production is there for Vj, that we have to substitute here. Okay. Next thing. That means Vj production is this form. Vj denotes Vk alpha, where j value is less than k. What you have to do, substitute the Vj value here in Vi rule. Okay. So this substitution will be repeated until these two symbols are not equal, right? So once you get Vi in the RHS of the production, that means very first symbol in the body Vi alpha. If you get these two symbols equal, then you have to stop that substitution. You have to apply the step number 8. We have the same variable, that means in the left hand side of the production, and first symbol in the body. If you observe, A denotes A alpha. So A is the head of the production in the left hand side, and in the right hand side, very first symbol is also A. So both the symbols are same. So this rule we, so whenever eliminate the left recursion by rewriting the production rule. You have to rewrite this production rule by eliminating the left recursion, right? So this is the procedure. These are the two steps that we have to write for removing the recursion, right? So I already explained this concept. What is the necessity of rewriting this rule in this format? Rule format. Okay, so I already explained. So if you want to uh, get a knowledge on this, just refer the previous session videos. Okay, so you could get a clear understanding on how to remove this left recursion. Okay, now let us solve one more problem. So is a context-free grammar. So for this CFG, we have to obtain the GNF. Okay, so we have to convert this CFG into G in sequence. So first thing we have to check for production. So there are no epsilon productions, so no change in productions. So as there are no unit productions in the grammar, so the grammar check for user symbols and productions. And B are reachable from start symbol capital S. So no user symbols and production rules are to so considered as V3. Okay. So then this V1 in place of yes V2. V1 denotes V2 V2. How do we obtain this? What is yes? Yes is nothing but V1, right? Then we have A. A is nothing but V2. have to check V1 production. V1 production, that means here it is considered as Vj. So Vj denotes Vk alpha, and if J value is less than K, what we have to do? Substitute Vj here in Vi rule, right? So what is V1 rule? It is V1 denotes V2 V3, right? So now if you observe, what is this 1? I value is 1, J value is 2. So I is less than J. So I is less than J. So it is the rule 7, which is saying that whenever you have denotes Vk alpha and J value is less than K, what you have to do? Substitute Vj in Vi rule, right? So what is Vj here? V1. So V1 production rules has to be substituted here in Vi. Vi here 3. So V3, in V3 production rule, we have to substitute the body of Vi or V1. Okay. So what is V1 here? What is V1 here? V2, V3. So V1 denotes V2, V3, right? So that is the V1. Okay, so only one V1 production we are having. So we have to substitute here in the V3 rule. Okay, let us see. V3 denotes what is the first variable we are having? V1. So we will substitute the body of V1 here. So what is the body of V1? V2, V3. So we'll get V2, V3, V2, V3, and then followed by V2, it will remain same. Okay. So this is how we will get this V3. Okay. Now again, if you see, I is less than J. Sorry, I is greater than J. So what is I here? 3. So 3 is greater than J. I value is greater than J. Again, what we have to do? We have to check V2 production here, right? So what is V2 production? V2 denotes V3, V1 or B, right? So here, if you see one form, it is not in GNF where 2 is less than 3. That means I is less than J. So what we will do, since it is the rule 7, we have to substitute the value of V2 in V3 rule, right? So here we have to substitute the value of V2. So how do we rewrite the production rule V3? Just see here. V3 denotes, what is V2? We are having V3, V1, and then this V3, V2 will remain same. V3, V2 will remain same. Okay. Then next, for V3 we are having one more value, that is B. So we have to substitute this in place of V2 in V3 production rule. So you will get one more production, that is B, V3, V2. Okay. V3, V2. So here if you observe again, I value is equal to J value, right? So we are keep on substituting, but here the moment when we get I value and J value becomes equal, we have to stop that substitution, right? So this production rule will leads to the left recursion, right? Because both the variables are same, Vi and Vj are same. So here we have to apply the step 8, that is removal of left recursion, right? So let us have a look on this. So see, these are the steps that we have applied. So substitute V1 in V3 production. We got V3 denotes V2, V3, V2. Okay. And here again I value is greater than J. So what we will do? We will check V2 production. So in that V2 production, we have seen that V2 production, in V2, this will be considered as J and this will be considered as K. Vj less than Vk, right? So it is satisfying that rule. So we can substitute V2 value in V3. Okay. So V2 value here we have substituted in V3, right? Okay then. And next, if we consider the V3 rule, it will be like this. V3 denotes V3, V1, V3, V2, and or B, V3, V2, or small a. So small a, it is already given in the grammar, right? Production rule. V3, V3, V1, V3, V2, or small b, V3. small a, right? So we have substituted this V1 value and after that V2 value in V3 production rule, and after this we got this both the variables Vi and Vj equal. Since it is left recursive rule, we have to eliminate it, right? So already I have explained that how to remove the left recursion, right? So while removing the left recursion, here of the production you have to consider it as A. So see here I have considered as capital A denotes. So here if we are having the same variable which is same as the LHS of the production, both symbols are same. So again this V3 in the right hand side you have to consider it as A. Okay. And after that V3 whatever the symbols that you are having in that production you have to consider it as an alpha. Okay. So consider this portion as a alpha, right? Or since here we are not having the V3 starting with V3, so this portion, this remaining portion, that means this remaining rules, we have to consider it as beta 1, okay, or small a. Also it is not having V3 at the beginning, only terminal symbol here, so we can consider it as beta 2. So it is in form A denotes A alpha or beta 1 or beta 2, right? So A denotes A alpha or beta 1 or beta 2. So you have to identify the production in this form by your own, right? So nobody is going to tell you that assume this one as A, assume this one as alpha, assume this one as beta 1, beta 2 like that. So you have to identify it. So I explained the logic how to identify. So in left recursive rule, we are going to have the same symbol in the left hand side and the first symbol in the body of the production, both are same, right? Since both are same, the production where you are having this variable A, the rest of the portion after A will be considered as alpha, right? So in this version, in this format, you have to consider it as A denotes A alpha, right? And if you consider the another production rule B V32, so here it is starting with other symbol except V3, right? So this particular portion will be considered as beta 1 or this particular production rule will be considered as beta 1, right? And another one is small a. Again, it is not starting with V3, so we have to consider this portion as beta 2, right? So we have to identify by seeing these variables in the body of the production. Okay. Now, so this is how we identified the production rule. A denotes A alpha or beta 1 or beta 2, right? So how do we eliminate the left recursion? A denotes, we have to write beta 1z, okay? Beta 1z or beta 2z or beta 1 or beta 2, right? That's it. Or beta 1 or beta 2. Next. What is Z? Z denotes, it is going to consisting of alpha. So alpha Z or alpha. Okay. So this is the production rule that we have to write to remove the left recursion, right? So let us see here. So first thing we have to write A. A is nothing but V3. So V3 denotes, what is the first one? Beta 1. So what is the beta 1 value? This one. B V3 V2. So B V3 V2 Z. So beta 1 Z we have written, right? Next, beta 2 Z. What is beta 2 here? Small a. So small a Z. Next we have to write beta 1. What is beta 1? B V3 V2. And next we have to write beta 2. What is beta 2? Small a, right? So if we write the production rule in this format, it will comes into the GNF, right? Automatically it will comes into the GNF. Okay, then next, what is capital Z indicates alpha. What is alpha? V1, V3, V2, right? So V1, V3, V2, Z alpha Z or alpha. What is alpha? V1, V3, V2. Okay. So if you observe, it is not in GNF. Okay. So we have to convert it into GNF, right? So we will convert it into GNF later. So by seeing this production rule, we can say that V3 is in GNF, right? So we can substitute this V3 value in place of V3 wherever we are having in the body of the production to make that production in the GNF, right? So if we consider this V3, so let me go through this here. So if we consider this V3, V3 is there in V2 production, right? Since V3 got into GNF form, so if we substitute V3 production here in V2, the V2 production will become in GNF. Okay, will get converted into GNF. Okay, so what we will do, substitute that production rule here in place of V3 in V2 rule, such that the V2 will also get into GNF form. Okay. Now, so what is the first V3 production that we are having? V3 denotes B V3 V2Z. So we have to set the value in V2 rule, right? So here, so B this one B V3 V2. So substitute in place of V3, you will get another alternative B V3 V2 V1. Okay, and next we are having AZ. Okay, AZ. Then substitute it, you will get A Z V1. So you'll get one more A Z V1. Okay, A Z V1. So just there is a change A Z V1. Okay, and next another one you will get AZ AZ. Okay, sorry A V1. Sorry A V1. So here if you observe V2 production is like this. V2 denotes V3 V1 V3 V1 or small b, right? So what we are doing, we are substituting V3 value here in V2 rule, right? So by doing this, V2 will become in GNF, right? So what is V3 first production? B V3 V2Z. So we substitute here B V3 V2Z, and this V1 will remain same. Okay, this is one combination, right? Or what is V3 value? Again we are having AZ. So if we substitute that, you will get AZ V1, right? Or next we are having B V3 V2. B V3 V2 V1. Okay, this V1 will remain same. Okay, or we are having A V1. Okay, and next this small b will remain same. Okay, so this is how we will get the V2 production. Okay, so this is the V2 production. So just add one more production which I overlooked here. That is AZV1, AV1. So these are the productions. Okay, now next. So here, after getting this, you can observe that V2 is in GNF. So what we have to do, we have to substitute this V2 value in V1 production rule, so that V1 will also get into GNF. Okay, so that we will do, right? Next, we have to bring this Z into G form, right? So here we are having in GNF V1, right? So we have to substitute that V1 values in place of V1 in Z rule, right? So whatever the different combinations that you are having, you have to substitute here. Okay. Okay. So this is the production rules that we got for V2. Now, since V2 is in GNF, what we have to do is that we have to substitute that V2 in VI rule, so that V1 will also become the GNF, right? So here in V1 we are having the rule like this. V1 denotes, if you observe the previous rule, V1 denotes V2 V3, V2 V3, right? So this is the rule that we have, right? So we have to substitute this V2 values here in V1 rule, right? So what is the V2 value that we are having? V, V3, V2, Z, V1. Okay, and this V3 will remain same. This is one combination that we are getting. Next, if you substitute another V2 value, you will get one more production rule A Z V1 and that V3 will remain same. Okay. Next, what is the next? B V3 V2 V1. You have to substitute in place of V2 in V1 rule. So B V3 V2 V1 and this V3 will remain same. Okay. Next A V1 will get A V1 V3 A V1 V3. Okay. And next we will get B V3. So by doing this V1 get into GNF form, right? So the moment when you get V1 into GNF form, you have to substitute that V1 value in Z rule so that you will get Z production rule also in GNF, right? So just what you have to V1 V3 and this V3 V2 Z as it is, right? So next combination we can substitute like AZ V1 V3 in place of in Z to get another combination. So what you will get AZ V1 V3 V3 V2 Z you will get. Okay. So let me say this one. Okay, this is the combination AZ V1 V3 V3 V2 Z. So this is the combination that you get. After taking this one B V3 V3 V2 V1 V3 combination like B V3 V2 V1 V3 and V3 V2 VZ will remain same. Okay, and if you take this combination A V1 V3 will get A V1 V3 V3 V2 Z will remain same. Okay, and next if you substitute this B V3 you will get B V3 V3 2 Z. Okay, like this. So by substituting this production rules of V1 in Z rule, you will get different combinations. Okay. So next we are having another V1, V3, V2. So substitute V1 values here. You will get again different combination, right? So what is V1? We are having B, V3, V2, Z, V1, V3. So we have to substitute here in place of V1. You will get this format. So let me say B, V3, V2, Z, V2, Z, then V3, V2. Okay. So likewise, you have to get different combinations for this. Okay. So B, V3, V2, Z, V1, V3, V2. So A, Z, V1, V3, V3, V2. A, Z, A, Z, V1, V3. A, Z, V1, V3, V3, V2. Right. B, V3, V2, V1, V3, 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 V2. Okay. Next A, V1, V3, V3, V2. Okay. And next B, V3, V3, V2. Okay, like this. So by doing this, that will becomes in GNF. Okay. So these are the techniques for converting this given context-free grammar into the GNF. Okay. So just practice this problem once. Okay. So nothing. So don't worry about the number of variables that you are getting. Right. So it doesn't matter. So just what we have to do, we have to bring it into GNF where you are going to have a production in which a variable is denoting a terminal or a variable is denoting a terminal followed by any variables, right? So in that format you have to bring. So if you observe all the production rules we are having in GNF, so we could stop this conversion process and we could say that the context-free grammar is successfully converted into GNF. Okay. Next, closure properties of context-free languages, right? So just like we discussed the closure properties of regular languages, here we are discussing we could say that the context-free languages are closed under these operations: union, concatenation, clean closure, and reversal also. Reversal. Okay. So these are the various operations on performing on CFL context-free languages, you will get context-free language only, right? That's why we are saying that context-free languages are closed under union, concatenation, clean closure, and reversal operations, right? So let us see union. So if L1 and L2 are the two context-free languages, then their union will also use the context-free language, right? So if L1 is context-free language and L2 is a context-free language, if you perform union between them, the resultant language will also be the context-free language, right? So because of this reason, we are saying that the context-free languages are closed under the union operation. Okay. So here, let me take one union. Let me take one context-free language here. L1 is equal to a power n, b power n, such that n is greater than or equal to 0. L2 is equal to c power m, d power m, such that m is greater than or equal to 0. So here we are having two context-free languages. I am performing the union between them. So a power n, b power n, union c power m, d power n. You will get a power n, b power n, union c power m, d power m, such that n is greater than or equal to m is greater than or equal to 0. So this language that we got a power n, b power n, of two context-free languages will also gives the context-free language. So let me consider L1 is a power n, b power n, and L2 is equal to set of c power n, d power n, such that m is greater than or equal to 0. If you perform concatenation, that means L1 dot L2, you are going to get a power n, b power n, c power m, d power m, right? So so all the strings must have number of A's followed by number of B's. So number of A's, number of B's must be the same, followed by number of C's, followed by the number of D's. So the number of C's and number of D's must be the same, right? So like you get the string. So let me write one string as A, B, C, D, right? So it is context free. Next, if I write A square, B square, that means A, B, B, C, D. Okay. So if you observe, number of A's, number of B's must be the same, number of C's and number of D's must be the same, right? So this is the context free language, right? Next, clean closure. So if L1 is a context free language, then its clean closure will also give the context free language only. Okay. And next, we can also have intersection. So if you perform the intersection between the context free languages, again you are going to get context free language. Okay, we are not getting context free language, right? Why? Because the intersection is not giving the context free language always, right? So every time we may not get this context free language, right? So here I have justified this with one example. L1 is equal to a power n, b power n, c power n, and L2 is equal to a power m, b power n, c power n. So I am performing the intersection between them. So when we perform the intersection between them, we will get like a power n, b power n, and c power n. N is greater than or equal to 0. So this language is not context free, it is context sensitive language, right? So because of that reason, we are saying that context free languages are not closed under intersection operation, right? So of course, for some language you may get context free language, but here if we consider the complex context free languages and if we perform the intersection between them, the result will be apart from this context free language only, right? So here we got the result as context sensitive language, right? So here we could say that L1 intersection L2, that means context free languages intersection may not use the context free language, right? So because of which we are saying that intersection is not giving this context free languages, and context free languages are not closed under intersection. Same is the case with complementation. So complementation, if you perform complementation of a context-free language, it will not be the context-free, right? So these are the two operations which won't give the context-free language, right? And last one, note point, context-free language is closed under reversal operation. Yes. So if you take the reversal, let me say L is equal to, so let me write a power n, b power n, set of a power n, b power n, such that n is greater than 0. If you reverse the string, it will become L is equal to b power n, a power n, such that n is greater than 0. So this is also a context-free language. That means after reversing the language, you will get a context-free language itself, right? So these are the concepts which we have seen. In the next class, we will discuss about the pumping lemma concept. Okay. So thank you for attending this session. Have a great day.